How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. My cat is having a panic attack. Taking breath. Oh no. Do you think you're gonna drown? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all? You can't go anywhere without him. Sounds like an additional baby. Alright, let's make this coffee. We have been up a very long time, so I need it. Coffee, 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 coffee. Speaking of coffee, there, I did it. Oh, look at me learning how to do things. Are you guys so proud of me that I'm like learning to use TikTok properly? Or according to them properly? Not really what I consider properly, but whatever. We'll play the game, won't we? We'll play the game for them. Always proud of you. Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Right back at you. How's everyone doing this morning? Somebody and I, this little girl and I, are going to mommy and me yoga this afternoon. How cool is that? It's kind of fun, right? Should be cool. I don't know. We'll see. I've never done anything like that before, but I'm excited to do it. It's at noon. And like the walk of... Did you see the video I tagged you in? Yes, I actually know that person. She runs Baby Wearing LA. Yeah, I did. She is a baby wearing educator that has done this for a very long time, actually. She is correct in that video. We do have some other differences of opinion, but she is a wealth of information, and generally speaking, I will defer to her. Hello, Tom. Wow, I didn't even know you had a phone. I used to be a big spin class girly when I had free time. Not a Peloton per se, because I don't have that, but just spin classes. Got my very sleepy baby here. It is interesting, yeah. The reason that she said that is because there was this big fight about So there's this place called the Baby List Showroom here in LA, and they have a lot of Baby Bjorn carriers on display, and a lot of people in the industry do not like those carriers because the hips hang straight down. There's no real way to get an M shape in that carrier. Do I think it's comfortable for any children? No, I don't. Babies always look uncomfortable when they're in that. Will it cause hip dysplasia? No. Those things are not to prevent hip dysplasia. They're to prevent a bunch of different things. If your baby is already prone to hip dysplasia, could that exacerbate it? Yes. Can it cause it? No. Unless it's like a familial trait. That being said, those carriers are crap. They're uncomfortable for the wearer, for the baby, in general. The reason that I say I defer to her on most things, but not all, is that she works for Baby List. And because of that, she's going to naturally defend it. I don't work for any carrier companies, so I have no skin in the game. I don't get money from anybody, so I can just say whatever, you know what I mean? As long as it's factual. I can't like spout falsehoods, but you know what I'm saying. I just think, saying something blanketly like a carrier that does not provide an M shape does not cause hip dysplasia, while a true fact doesn't tell the whole story, you know what I mean? Like, you can say that and it's true. I'm trying to think of a correlation, like something, good morning, Ray, like, what can, trying to think of something that could match. I mean, there's a million different things, but like, it's just, yes, putting back first thing in the morning, it's just not the whole picture, right? So the problem is someone who doesn't know anything about baby wearing or doesn't know anything about carriers, a new parent, for example, might see that video and say, this person is an educator. She is saying these carriers where the hips go straight down don't cause hip dysplasia, so I don't have to worry about that at all, right? It's selective information. They go, so it's no problem, but it's ignoring all the other issues that could be caused from those carriers, you know what I mean? And not to mention the general discomfort for you and the baby, you know, which, why would anyone want that? That's one of the things that my husband and I talk about often. Sometimes people wear their babies, and even if they're not necessarily wearing them unsafely, you can just tell the baby's uncomfortable. It's like, is nobody looking at this baby's face? Like, this baby looks mad upset. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm crazy. And I have a milk mustache. It's not milk, it was something else. Gross. Gross. What was it, do you think? I don't know. And that's uncomfortable for me. The fact that I don't know what was on my face. Okay, let's put the coffee down very carefully. I'm gonna put you guys on the tripod. We're back. There was an event where a mom was forward facing her baby, and I wanted to tell her to turn it so bad. Yeah, I mean, forward facing is so controversial, right? Like, it's a huge debate in the baby wearing space right now, even. Like, people are talking about it so much right now. Like, when is it safe? When is it comfortable? All these different things. I personally am choosing in my baby wearing educating to not do forward facing, and the reason for that is I just think it's not worth it. Like, everyone always asks me, when am I going to forward face my baby? I'm not going to, right? Is she technically old enough for me to do it right now? Luigi does for her. That's funny. If you have a child who has stuffed animals and they like to wear them, let them forward face them all day, every day. But the thing is, like, she's technically old enough to forward face right now. If I had a carrier, I probably do have a carrier, I don't know which one, that would allow for forward facing. Most of my carriers don't even support forward facing because I just don't get those kinds of carriers. But if I have a carrier that does support forward facing, you know, I'm not even sure that I do. Let's just pretend I had one. I don't think I would do it. And there's a couple of different reasons. Majority is, you know what, if you run into someone and you want, it's like saying not exactly, that's exactly right, Anya, that's exactly right. If you want a good reason, oh, I know a lot of people think that, Nikki. I'm sorry, I mean with baby wearing. Forward facing with car seat, she's not even close to old enough yet. We're like a year away from a year and a half. I don't know. She has to be like 2 years old and a certain length and weight and all that. I'm not even thinking about car seat changing with her, not even close, but wearing, you know. You can tell any parents that you have a kind discussion with this about how bad it is for their body too. So forward facing actually is a detriment to the mother's or caregiver in general, but generally female caregivers' pelvic floor health. So I'm actually going to be working with a pelvic floor therapist in the area to make some more videos about this, because everyone just, you know what I don't understand? People don't seem to care when you give them the information about the baby. It's very strange. Like you can say, well, for the baby X, Y, and Z, and they just go, oh yeah, but they want to look out. And it's like, well, they can look out from any of the other carriers too, but okay. But when you say you're gonna have to get pelvic floor therapy if you wear them that way, all of a sudden they care. They're like, wait, why? And it's like, well, you could have a prolapse, you could have this, you could have to have surgery, blah, 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 because the weight is not balanced properly. So let's say this is your body, right? And you're wearing your baby. So there's a couple of different ways to wear it. Technically, I guess there's 4 different ways that you can, there are a million different ways you can wear the baby, but like 4 positions, let's just say, that you can wear the baby. If this is your body and this is the baby, you can wear them facing you, so they're like sleeping on you, kind of like how she is on me right now. You can wear them on your back that way, right, which is actually the most ergonomically safe for your body. You can wear them on your hip, which I do in the ring sling with her often, and you can wear them facing out. Now, think about your body. So when you're doing, like, even if you've never worn a baby, if you've held a kid before and they like wrap their legs around you, it makes it easier for you to hold them, right? That's kind of what the carrier's doing. It's giving you that hold, like how you, when you hold them and they, you know, my husband always says, holding our toddler or a little bit older nieces is actually less work than holding her, because they do some of the work for you, right? They wrap their legs around your waist, they wrap their arms around your neck, and they're putting in some of the effort because they're kids and they want to. Babies don't know to do that yet. So your body is here and you're holding them, and it's like, all right, well, it's there and you're able to hold up like this. When it's on your back, it's like a backpack, and it's even easier because it's not putting any pressure on any of those organs there in the front, so that's great. When it's on your hip, it's not so bad, but it is unbalanced side to side, so I try not to do that too often. But when they're facing like this, their weight is pulling you forward while their butt and that kind of area of them is pressing directly on your pelvis, essentially. It's not good for you. It's not good for them. You know, I just yeah, mine too, Mary, mine too, big time. She loves it. Just offhandedly, I was on a mom walk and I ran into someone, like I said, who was a pelvic floor therapist, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish you had been here earlier. People were talking about forward facing and they don't believe me when I tell them this. And she's like, oh, I would never. So like, if your pelvic floor therapist says they would never do it because it's bad, why are you the exception? Like, she sees it all the time in her clients. She's like, yeah, they did it, and then look, here we are, and then they have to get therapy. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Newborns are like kittens and toddlers are like puppies. I don't know. Kittens try to get away. They don't want love. I don't know. Newborns always want to be with you. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. I've had both. I'm not sure. I wouldn't do it because it's uncomfortable. That's right. That's right. It is uncomfortable. So anyway, that's my long-winded answer to Mary's question about did I see that video and what do I think of it. I did see it, and like I said, I have complex feelings about it. Yeah, piggyback ride's the best. Who doesn't want a constant piggyback ride? Guys, so I don't know if Ray is still in here. Ray gifted me 2 toddler-size carriers when this baby was little. She still doesn't fit in them because they're toddler-size carriers. Eventually she will fit in them, so I keep in them, of course. But I have a neighbor who has
some physical issues, and she used to carry her little girl when she was this size, but now her daughter is 2, and she still wants to be picked up when they're out and about, and she was having a lot of issues, and she was like, I should start carrying her again like you do. And I was like, you can back wear her. And she was like, I never even thought of that. But she didn't have a carrier that would fit her for obvious reasons. So I said, you know what, my baby's not going to fit in one of these carriers for a while. Why don't I loan it to you for a little while so that you can get a feel for it, and then you can give it back to me when you get your own, right? So I loaned her this carrier that Ray had gifted us. Her little girl loves it so much. She calls it being mommy's princess backpack, and her 2-year-old is napping for the first time in 6 months. She puts her on her back when they run errands, and she naps. She dropped naps 6 months ago, and now she's napping again. So like, she's happy, she's comfortable, she loves being on mommy's back when they're out and about. It means that my friend doesn't have to lug her stroller around everywhere, and she's not uncomfortable, because she was taking the stroller, but then her daughter wanted to be held anyway. So she was like, why am I wasting all of my efforts bringing a stroller everywhere if she's just gonna ask me to pick her up anyway? So it's the gift that keeps on giving. Ray meant it for this baby when she's older, but now even more babies are putting sleepy dust in here. I think it's great. I'm happy to share. I have no problem sharing with my friends. And I think if Ray was still in here, I don't know if she's still here right now, I think she would agree. I think she would say more babies that get to go in this, more better. I think she would love it to hear that this little princess thinks that she's mommy's backpack. She literally says, I'm mommy's princess backpack. I mean, like, how freaking cute is that? Would you just die if your daughter was like, I'm mommy's princess backpack when you're wearing her on your back? I would just, I don't know. Anyway, it made me smile so much. They walk by our door all the time, and she was like, Sasha, look at me. I was like, I see you, sweetheart. It's very cute. Anyway, so that is my long-winded explanation, but now, since she's still asleep, let's read while we have the chance. We are on chapter 4. Here we go. Chapter 4, the principal's office. Uh-oh. I forgot that Connor was getting sent to the principal's office at the end of the last chapter. Here we go. Connor had only been sitting outside of the principal's office for 10 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours. The mystery of why he was there was picking at his psyche like a pair of hungry buzzards. He had been surprisingly good student this year. Not as great as his sister, perhaps, but a good student nevertheless. Connor's grades were decent, although he probably could have done better in science and math, as he imagined, well, most students could. Besides, just occasionally forgetting which revolution happened where, he was doing pretty well in history class too. And for the first time in his life, he was actually enjoying assignments in his English class. He was confident that he hadn't done anything wrong, so why was he here? The paranoia grew that someone else had possibly framed him. Was he being held responsible for the graffiti on the lockers or the goldfish that was put in the faculty toilets? Sure, yeah, Connor thought those pranks were hilarious, but he hadn't done them. If they didn't think he was guilty, did they think he knew who had done it and wanted him to testify? Could he plead the fifth in school? Did he have a right to call a lawyer or phone a friend? The door to the principal's office opened and a girl ran out in tears. Connor tensed instantly. Mr. Bailey, Mrs. Peters called from inside her office, and Connor gulped. Hearing her call out his name was just as terrifying today as it had been when she taught him in the 6th grade. A huge promotion was the last thing she had expected, but Mrs. Peters had recently come up in the world. After 25 long years of teaching, Mrs. Peters had made the decision to retire. The subject had been on the veteran educator's mind for some time. Unbeknownst to her students, Mrs. Peters kept a calendar at her desk for years and marked down the days until she was eligible for retirement. She often daydreamed about her life after teaching. She planned all the exotic vacations she wanted to take. She made a list of all the small fixes around her condo that she would finally have the time to make. She assembled everything that she needed to start a vegetable garden in her small yard. In other words, she was more than ready for this. But in the final weeks leading up to the conclusion of her teaching career, Mrs. Peters received an offer to become the principal. As appealing as a life of gardening and relaxation was, a life as the principal gave her the essence of what she loved most about being a teacher, the authority over impressionable youngsters. Needless to say, she didn't hesitate to take the job. I know, same, Jen. It just feels too good. Hey, no, shh, 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 shh. She thrived in the powerful position of administering punishments, and occasionally something would come up that would allow her to do what she loved more than anything, which is why she had now called Connor Bailey into her office. "Have a seat," Mrs. Peters ordered, and Connor sat across from her so obediently that he reminded himself of Buster, but he didn't expect to be rewarded with a biscuit. His eyes wandered around the room, and he noticed Mrs. Peters had decorated her office in the same patterns and floral prints as the dresses she wore. "Do you know why I've called you here today?" Mrs. Peters asked. She wasn't even looking at him. Her eyes were busy scanning through stacks of papers in her hand. No, not a clue," Connor said. He could almost... You okay? Not a clue, Connor said, and he could almost see what the papers were in the reflection of her glasses. "I wanted to talk to you about the writing that you've been doing in your English class," she said, finally making eye contact with him, and Connor realized that the papers she was going through were in his handwriting, and now he panicked. "Is this about my essay on To Kill a Mockingbird?" he asked. I know I wrote that one of the saddest parts about the book is that the girl is named Scout, but I talked to Mrs. York about my approach, and I understand now why my essay could have been better." Mrs. Peters' eyes squinted and her brow flexed in a judgmental manner. This was bound to happen at least once whenever she and Connor were in the same room. "Or maybe is this about my report on Animal Farm?" Connor said. "I know I said that I wish George Orwell had used something to represent politics, but that didn't give me a major craving for bacon cheeseburgers, but that is really how I felt. I wasn't exactly trying to be funny." "No, Mr. Bailey," Mrs. Peters said. "I called you into my office to talk about the creative writing that you've been working on in Mrs. York's class." "Oh?" Connor asked. Creative writing was actually his favorite part of the class. "How am I screwing that up?" he asked. "You're not," Mrs. Peters said. "It's fantastic." Connor's head jerked in disbelief. "Did you just say what I think you said?" Connor asked. "I believe so," Mrs. Peters said, almost as surprised as he was. "Miss York was afraid your stories might have been plagiarized, so she sent them to me to look over, but they're unlike anything I've ever read. I assured her that they are very original to me." Connor was having difficulty processing it all. Mrs. Peters, of all people, was complimenting and defending him? "Huh. So I'm here for a good thing?" Connor asked. "A very good thing," Mrs. Peters said. "Your stories and your perspective on fairy tale characters are just wonderful. I loved your story about the charming dynasty searching for their long-lost charming brother, and the evil queen's long-lost lover being trapped inside the magic mirror, and Trix, the misbehaving fairy, and Trollbella, the homely troll princess. Such an imaginative new character. It's very impressive." "Oh, thank you," Connor said. "Can I ask you what inspired these stories?" Mrs. Peters said, and Connor gulped. He didn't know how to answer this one. Technically, he had used the class to write about his personal experiences, so the stories weren't necessarily creative writing. Was it considered lying that he couldn't tell the truth? "I don't know. It just came to me," Connor said with a shrug. "Can't really explain it." Mrs. Peters did something that Connor had never seen her do before. She smiled at him. "I was hoping you would say that," Mrs. Peters said, and she retrieved the folder from inside of her desk. "I took the liberty of looking into your student profile that you filled out at the beginning of the school year, and I found it interesting that under future career aspirations, you simply wrote something cool." Connor nodded. "Yeah, I stand by that." "Well, unless you have the goal of becoming a professional snowman, it's safe to presume that you're open to suggestions?" Mrs. Peters asked. Sure," Connor said. He still hadn't thought of any job that fit the description. "Mr. Bailey, have you ever thought about becoming a writer?" Mrs. Peters said. "If these stories are any indication, with time and practice, I think you really might have what it takes." And although they were the only people in the room, Connor had to remind himself that she was talking to him. Sorry, a writer?" Connor asked. "Me?" The thought had never crossed his mind. He instantly filled his head with doubts regarding the prospect, like white blood cells attacking a virus. Yes, you, Mrs. Peters said and pointed him for further distinction. But, aren't writers supposed to be, like, super smart? Connor asked. Don't they say things like, I concur, and I don't identify with any of this? Those kinds of people are like, writers, not me. They'd laugh at me if I tried to become one of them. Mrs. Peters exhaled a small gust of air through her nose, which Connor remembered was her version of a laugh. Intelligence is not a competition, she said. There's plenty to go around, and there are many of ways that it can be demonstrated. But anyone can write, right? Connor asked. I mean, like, that's why authors get judged so harshly, isn't it? Because technically everyone could do it if they want to. Just because anyone can do something doesn't mean that everyone should do it, Mrs. Peters said. Besides, anyone with an internet connection feels that they have the credentials to critique or belittle anything these days. Yeah, I suppose, Connor said, but his defeated look said otherwise. What makes you think that I would be a good writer? I mean, my stories are so simple compared to all of the other ones out there, and I don't even have, like, a very good vocabulary. I'm worthless without spell check. Mrs. Peters took off her glasses and massaged her eyes. Connor was still a challenging student to get through to. Having something worth telling and a passion to tell it are what make you a good writer, Mrs. Peters said. I can't tell you how many times I've read novels or articles that use complicated words, witty wordplay to cover up the fact that they have absolutely no story to tell at all. A good story should be enjoyed. Sometimes simplicity can go a long way. Connor wasn't sold on the idea yet. I don't know if it's for me. You don't have to decide right now, Mrs. Peters said. I'm only asking you to think about it. I would hate if somebody with your imagination graduated and didn't do something cool with it. She locked eyes with him. Another rare and small smile appeared on her face. I have two loves in my career, reprimanding and encouraging, Mrs. Peters went on. Thank you for letting me encourage today. I don't get many opportunities to do it. Yeah, no problem, Connor said. It's nice to be on the other side of the categories for a change. And Mrs. Peters put her glasses back on and handed Connor his stack of papers. He figured their meeting was over and he headed to the door, relieved to not be in tears like the principal's prior guest. I'm so proud of you, Connor, Mrs. Peters said as he reached for the door handle. You've come a long way from napping in my class. And all Connor could do was smirk sweetly at her. If you had told him a year and a half ago that one day Mrs. Peters would become one of his greatest supporters or refer to him by his first name instead of as Mr. Bailey, he never would have believed it. Connor mulled things over as he walked home. His thoughts soared into the realm of possibilities and sank into the realm of uncertainty. Had Mrs. Peters gone mad, or was he, Connor Bailey, actually capable of becoming a writer one day? Could he actually make a career about writing the experiences he and his sister had had in the fairy tale world? Would anyone want to read his stories about Trollbella and Trix, or the Evil Queen and the Big Bad Wolf Pack, or Jack and Goldilocks? Would those people mind if he wrote about them? If he ever saw them again, would Goldilocks beat the living daylights out of him for writing about the love triangle between her and Jack and Red Riding Hood? Hi, good morning. You don't have to wake up yet. Connor figured that people had been writing the same stories about them for centuries. Surely they wouldn't mind if they had a little update here and there. But what about Alex? She had as much ownership over their experiences as he did. Would it bother her if he started sharing them with the world? Alex had always been the one with the future, not him. Planning had always been her specialty. Connor always expected that she would grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer or maybe the president. Unfortunately, he hadn't given his own future very much thought, so any prospect seemed like a stretch. Connor realized that he wanted to get Alex's input on all of this, but as he reached their house, he came to a halt. There was something there he didn't expect to see. What's Bob doing here? Connor asked himself, recognizing the car parked outside their home. The front door flew open before Connor could even get himself inside, and Alex was standing on the other side of it, wide-eyed and white-faced. Finally, she said in relief. What's going on? Connor asked. Why's Bob here? He wants to talk to us before Mom gets home, Alex said. He knows that we know, and he said he wants to ask us something, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. What is it? Connor said, completely oblivious. Oh, just get inside, Alex told him. I think it's about to be a major development. Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun. You want to go to your mat if you're awake now? Are you too awake to sit here? You slept pretty well, though. You slept for 45 minutes. That was good. That was a nice nap. Yeah. You want to go on the mat? You want to play a little bit? You want to have a little bit of playtime? Whee! Ha-boom. Ha-boom, boom, boom. Ha-boom, boom, 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 boom. Let's get our friends, and they can come join us over here. You know what Mommy just realized? Mommy just realized she doesn't have her glasses on. Nobody told me I didn't put on my glasses, honey. It's bad for my eyes. It's bad for my eyes not to wear my glasses while I'm reading. She slept medium last night, Jen. I would say medium. It took her a while to go down, and she slept slightly less than usual in her stretches. He can't see without his glasses. And she also woke up extra early this morning. She woke up at 6:15 instead of 7, so we were up for a while. Yeah. Sometimes she wakes up at 6:30, but 6:15 is almost unheard of. Okay. I was listening and trying to figure out what these doctors are talking about. Work is what? Wait. Oh, you're listening and trying to do that. Yeah. No crying at work. That's right. Okay. Do you want to take this? Very exciting. Okay. Should we read the next chapter? Do you want to read the next chapter? Do you know what the next chapter's called? The next chapter is called, dun dun dun, The Proposal. Not to give a spoiler, but the picture's right there. By the way, it's hideous. It's a hideous ring, in case you're curious. I mean, like, truly hideous. It belongs in the ring shaming group that I'm a part of. Okay. Chapter 5, The Proposal. Alex and Connor hadn't looked like identical twins since they were 4 years old. That was around the age when Charlotte stopped dressing them in the same outfits every day, and they started to grow into their own unique features. But as they sat on the couch, both of them staring daggers at Bob with their arms crossed, it was once again hard to tell them apart. Oh, I am, Liz. I am. Yeah, Bob said, shifting uncomfortably in the chair across from them. Your mom said that she finally spilled the beans about us. It was brave of him to take the situation by the horns. She sure did, Connor said, and Bob nodded pleasantly like it was good news. The twins didn't even blink, though. They were an intimidating pair. I apologize about those flowers that came to the house. They were supposed to have gone to the hospital. Me too, Nikki. I'm in both. Are you in both? I'm in both. Yeah, they should have, Alex said, and Bob had done 1,000 difficult surgeries over the course of his career, but he found being stared down by the children of the woman he was dating to be the most stressful experience of his life. I understand why this is difficult information for you to process, Bob said, but it's still me, guys. I'm still the same Dr. Bob who you've had dinner with a dozen times. I'm the same guy who takes you to the movies when your mom doesn't want to see them, and I'm still the same guy who brought you Buster. It just happens to be dating our mother, Connor said. Nice try, but everything you listed just makes the situation worse. We thought we knew you. Are you admitting that Buster was a sort of dowry, Bob? Alex asked. Alex, what's a dowry? Connor said out of the side of his mouth, not breaking his stare at Bob. It's a settlement of sorts, Alex said. Like in ancient times, a man would promise a dozen camels or something like that in exchange for his daughter's hand in marriage. Gotcha, Connor said, diverting his full attention back to Bob. You don't think our mother's worth a dozen camels, Bob? One dog, and you think the deal is sealed? Ooh, I definitely don't think the deal is sealed, Bob said. Yet. Alex and Connor narrowed their eyes in perfect unison. Bob reached inside his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box, and the twins wondered for a second what it was, but only for a second. Once they realized it was too small to hold anything but a ring, it dawned on them what it meant. Oh my God, Alex said. No way, Connor said, and Bob looked down at the box with a smile. You know, when my wife died 4 years ago, I never thought I would be happy again, he said. I save lives every day, but for a long time I thought it would be impossible to save mine. And then along came your mom, and I learned that I had been wrong. Alex and Connor looked at each other out of the corners of their eyes. They had never seen Bob get so sappy, but they still appreciated how honest he was being with them. I know you've been seeing each other for a while, but this really seems sudden, Alex said. We only found out last night, Connor said, so in our minds, you've only been dating for a day. Are you sure you aren't rushing things? The way that he looked down at the ring with loving eyes and a heartfelt smile made it obvious that Bob had never been so sure about anything in his life. I've been around for a while, guys, and I've learned things don't come around very often like this, Bob said. Not taking this opportunity to ask your mother to be with me for the rest of my life would be the biggest mistake and make me the biggest fool in the world. Bob opened the box and showed the twins the ring. Alex gasped. It was the most beautiful ring that they had ever seen. It had a silver band with 2 large diamonds, one blue and the other pink. They could have sworn that they heard music playing while it twinkled in the lights just above their heads. It took me a month to find the perfect one, Bob said. I knew this was right as soon as I saw it. I thought the diamonds would remind her of you two. They're different shades, but the same cut. Alex's eyes immediately watered after hearing this, and Connor folded his arms a little tighter. That is the most touching thing I have ever heard, Alex said between sniffles. Stop making me like you again, Connor said, his brow furrowing. And Bob sat up straighter, happy that their meeting was moving in a better direction. Look, I'm not trying to replace your dad, and I'm not asking to be the new one, he said, but I am asking for your permission to ask your mother to marry me. I don't want to do it without your blessing. The twins couldn't believe it. They both felt like they were passengers on a ship, and now he was letting them be the captain. We're going to need a minute to think this over, Connor answered quickly, and before Alex knew it, her brother was dragging her into the kitchen. They stood there for a few moments in total silence, just staring at each other. What are you thinking? Alex asked. I think this is really uncomfortable, Connor said. This is actually more uncomfortable than the time I walked in on you and Mom talking about training bras. Alex rolled her eyes and peeked into the other room at Bob, making sure that he couldn't hear them. Honestly, Connor, I don't think we have any power over this. I mean, it's really nice of Bob to act like we're a part of the decision, but you just heard what he had to say about that, and you heard what Mom said last night. I don't think anything is going to stop them from being together. Connor sighed and he ran his fingers through his hair. Yeah, you're right, he said. But who knows if Mom's even going to say yes? Maybe she's going to have reservations about the whole thing. Reservations about what? Alex asked. She loves him and he loves her. What's going to stop her? Connor looked away from her, not wanting to say what he was thinking, but they were both thinking it. Dad's dead, Connor, Alex said, and he's not coming back, no matter how much we want him to. It was hard for Alex to be so frank. Usually she let the adults in her life dish out the tough love, but since they were slowly disappearing, she had no choice but to serve it up herself. Connor knew that she was speaking to herself as much as she was speaking to him. Alex had a talent for saying things he didn't want to think. I suppose that Mom has given us so much over the years. Our blessing is like the least we could give to her, Connor said. Yeah, it is, Alex said, and she nodded. This is another big one. Another big what? Connor asked. Another big moment, Alex said, and she sighed. We've had a lot of them. Yeah, we really have, he said. You think we'd be immune to them by now? Immune to life? Alex asked. Is anyone ever that lucky? And Connor grunted and put his hands on his hips. Fine, he said. He can marry Mom, but I'm still going to call him Dr. Bob. And then the twins returned to the other room, and Bob anxiously stood and faced them. Well, he said with bated breath. The jury has spoken, Connor said. Alex and I have decided that you may ask our Mom to marry you. Bob joyfully clapped his hands together, and tears came to his eyes. Guys, you've made me the happiest man alive, Bob said. Thank you. I promise to take care of her for the rest of her life. And Buster barked and jumped up and down, joining in on the celebration. So, where are you going to do it? Alex asked him. How about here? Over dinner, maybe, Bob said. I'll order food from her favorite restaurant and surprise her when she gets off work. Well, when? Connor asked. The sooner the better, Bob said. I'm free next Thursday night. How about then? I have class in the afternoon, but I'll be home by 6, Alex said. Great. It's settled then, Bob said. I'll propose next week on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. I'll ask a few of the nurses to keep your Mom busy so she doesn't get home early and ruin the surprise. This is going to be just terrific. The twins were looking forward to it. Not the event itself, but the chance to see their Mom happy again. Hey, Bob, Connor said, are you going to move in with us? Because, usually married people live with each other for the first couple months at least. That's a really good question, Alex said. Where are we going to live? Oh, my house, Bob said, and he shrugged his shoulders. Before she died, my wife and I bought a big house not too far from here, thinking that we were going to raise a family. It'd be nice to finally fill up all the rooms that we've got. The twins looked around their small rental house. The thought of leaving it made them feel sad. It had unexpectedly become home over the years. It would be weird to move again, Alex said. But I guess easy since we never really finished unpacking last time. I've got a swimming pool, Bob said, trying to cheer up the twins. And Connor's eyes grew big. Whoa, 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 he said. Bob, you could have saved yourself this entire afternoon if you had just started with swimming pool. Alex rolled her eyes and Bob let out a soft chuckle. Now Mom better say yes or I'm going to be the one who's disappointed, Connor said. Is that silly? Is that so silly? She's just watching me read. Like she doesn't usually do this. Usually she plays with her toys, but she's just watching right now. It was hard for the twins to focus on anything the following week. The looming Thursday stood out like a bookmark page in their future. The closer it got, the more anxious they became. Alex and Connor didn't know why they were so nervous after all. They weren't asking anyone to marry them. But in a strange way, Bob was marrying them too. And as apprehensive as they felt about it, the twins were starting to feel excited about Bob joining the family. Yes, Connor has his priorities in order. Connor was really looking forward to having another man around the house. As much as he loved his mom and his sister, he missed having someone else who appreciated the comedy of a bodily function. You think that's silly? Do you think Tootie jokes are silly? Do you think Tootie jokes are silly? Yeah. He wrote a short story in his English class that week about a family of trolls whose mother was engaged to an ogre. It wasn't the most flattering depiction of any of them, but it was quite therapeutic for him, and he drew little sketches in the margins of his paper. The troll children looked very much like him and his sister. The one based on Alex even had a headband in front of her horns. Alex found Connor working on the story one afternoon after school. She had never seen him look so devoted to something before. What's this? Alex asked him. Oh, it's nothing, Connor said, a little embarrassed. He still hadn't talked to her about his meeting with Mrs. Peters. It's just something that I'm doing for creative writing in English. Oh, that's nice. Wait, hey, is that supposed to be me? Alex said, pointing at his sketch. No, not at all, Connor said. What would make you think it was supposed to be you? Because it says this is supposed to be Alex under it, she said, a little annoyed and offended. That is so rude, Connor. How old are you anyway? Connor guiltily looked up at his sister. Okay, look, there's something I forgot to tell you, he said. I've sort of been writing about the two of us in my English class, like, a lot. What do you mean by that? Alex said. Hey, what's the matter? What's wrong? What's wrong? You don't like that Connor drew an unflattering picture of Alex? I understand. She doesn't really like it either. Do you know what I think you want? I have an idea for you. Ooh, let's see if Mommy can stand up. Ooh, she can. She can. Mommy can stand up. I know. Look at this. Look what I got for you. I know you want this, huh? Yeah, it's very exciting. What's this? Oh my goodness, so yummy. Here you go. She now has cucumber. You have cucumber, huh? Yes. What do you mean? Alex asked. Our adventures in the fairy tale world, he said. They made for some great stories, honestly. That's why Mrs. Peters called me into the office the other day. She really liked them and she wanted me to consider being a writer. She said that I might have what it takes, whatever that means. He paused. Thoughts or concerns? Alex blinked twice. Oh my gosh, I think that's a wonderful idea, she said, and Connor sighed with relief. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was worried you wouldn't want me spreading our business all around, Connor said. You're kind of like the co-owner of our experiences. Oh, on the contrary, she said. I think that these stories should be told. We saw so many things and met so many people, it'd be a waste to keep them to ourselves. Dad would be so proud of you. Connor smiled to himself. He hadn't thought about it like that. Really? He asked. You really think so? Absolutely, Alex said. He'd be so happy the storytelling gene went on to one of us. I've always tried telling and retelling stories, but you're honestly so much better at it than me. You're funny, and people like listening to you. Connor shrugged. Oh, shucks, he said. Well, I'm not going to argue with you. He pulled out the stacks of his stories to share with her. This one's about Trix's trial, and this one's about Trollbella giving freedom in exchange for a kiss. I wish I could forget about that. This one is my first one. It's about the curvy tree, but I was super paranoid that people would find out that it was true, so I changed it to the curvy giraffe. It really doesn't make any sense, but oh well. Anyway, I'm just learning. This is great, Connor, Alex said. Honestly, this is really great. Connor grinned from ear to ear. He believed her so much more than he believed Mrs. Peters. Her approval gave him the validation he needed to believe in himself. Alex flipped through her brother's stories. She smiled and laughed as she scanned through them, remembering the events that they were based on. Oh dear, Alex said, looking up from the paper, a fresh thought behind her eyes. Bob, are we going to tell him? Are we going to have to tell him who Dad and Grandma really are? Connor couldn't answer this. The thought hadn't crossed either of their minds until right now. How were they going to share the biggest family secret with him? Should we tell him? Connor asked. Well, we probably should in case Grandma ever shows up with an elf or a fairy on her doorstep, Alex said. Connor looked off into the distance. Gosh, who are we? He said. What other family has problems like this? Most skeletons in people's closets don't have wings. I imagine he'll have a lot of questions either way. Where did it go? Where's your cucumber? Oh, here it is. Cucumber. Nom, nom, nom. Nom, nom, nom. I imagine that he'll have a lot of questions either way, Alex said, and she let out a long sigh. But it's not like it's really relevant anymore. I mean, it might be pointless to tell him we have ties to another dimension if we don't ever get to interact with it again. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to play it by ear, Connor said. It might be a good excuse to have in our back pockets when we get older. Like, we could tell Bob that we're going to the fairy tale world, and then we can just, like, go to a party instead. Alex tilted her head and looked at him curiously. Why would we ever choose a party over the fairy tale world? Connor shook his head. Just for once, he wished his sister would think like a normal teenager. I keep forgetting you're an 80-year-old trapped inside a 13-year-old's body, he said. Never mind. The end of the week slowly arrived, and the twins woke up to a beautiful Thursday morning. They gave their mom extra long hugs before they left the house, causing her to raise suspicious eyebrows at them as they headed off to school. Alex and Connor felt like the day passed extra slowly. They glanced up at the clock every 5 minutes, only to be disappointed that it hadn't changed much. As soon as school ended, Connor ran home and met Bob at the house to help prepare for the night. He cut corners over his neighbor's lawn and was so careless he nearly tripped over that lawn gnome. I mean, same Naisa. I would happily choose the fairy tale world over a party any day. I don't want to go to a party, but I do want to go to the fairy tale world, like, any day. Obviously, why do you think I go to Disneyland? That's literally it. Alex was too angsty to enjoy her honors course or even be sleepy on the train ride back home. She just wanted the night to be perfect for her mom, and from the looks of things, when Alex finally got home, it was going to be pretty close to perfect. The kitchen table had been covered with a silk cloth, and there were candles placed at the center. A bottle of champagne and a bottle of cider were on the table, begging to be opened for celebration. The whole house smelled delicious as Bob had picked up food from Charlotte's favorite Italian restaurant. He was dressed in a nice suit and tie and held the box tightly in his hand, afraid to let it go. Even Connor had dressed up, putting on his best button-down shirt. Alex tried putting a bow on Buster's collar, but he wouldn't let her. The dog had been acting strange for a couple of days. He stayed seated by the front door and growled occasionally. The twins figured that a new cat must have moved into the neighborhood, or maybe their jitters were just rubbing off on him. But aside from the dog, everything seemed to be going according to plan. Alex ran up to her bedroom, dressed in a skirt and her nicest headband, and then she came downstairs at 6:30 and joined Bob and Connor at the table. Mom should be here any minute, Connor said. Let's make this proposal quick, Bob, because I'm starving. I'll, do my best, Bob said, and he kept looking down at the ring. And as excited as the twins were, they knew that nothing compared to what Bob was feeling. They couldn't wait for her to walk through the door and see... Why'd you throw it over here? You don't want to eat it? They couldn't wait for her to walk through the door and see them waiting for her. Alex hoped that her mom wouldn't cry too much, because then of course she would start crying. Connor hoped that Alex wouldn't start crying, because then he might start crying. And there was no dust here to blame it on, because they had just cleaned. Unfortunately... What's wrong, honey? You want to go in your bouncy, or your chair? Do you want to go in your chair with your cucumber? Will that make it better? You seem pretty content down here, though. You really want to go? Okay, you can. That's fine. Here you go. But your feet have to go through the holes, honey. Yep, feet have to go in the holes. Feet have to go in the holes. Feet have to go in the holes, baby girl. There you go. You have the best laugh, kid. You have the best laugh in the world. Yes, you do. You have the best laugh. Yes, you do. The cutest laugh ever. Ever in the history of the world. Okay. Unfortunately, Charlotte was running late, so the three of them were forced to wait. They waited, and they waited, and they waited some more. Oh yeah, she belly laughs, and it's the cutest thing. You would literally love it. You drop your cucumber, sweetheart. I'm gonna work on muting you. Hopefully I'll be back before you're done. Okay, sounds good. More than an hour had passed after the time she was supposed to be home. Hey, do you think that we should call her? Connor asked. Maybe we should, like, give her a ring to see where she is. Get it? You get it? Give her a ring. No, I don't get it, Alex said. She can't suspect. No, don't do it. I'm gonna read that again because I read it poorly and that ruined the whole thing. Should we give her a call? Connor asked. Like, maybe we should give her a ring to see where she is. Get it? Get it? No, don't do that, Alex said. She can't suspect a thing. And after an hour, the twins' anticipation turned to anxiety, and Bob decided to put the food away so that it wouldn't go bad. I guess Nurse Nancy is being very thorough today, Bob chuckled. She's probably making sure that your mom doesn't get here too early. But the twins weren't laughing. The last time they'd waited this long for a parent, they lost one. I'm gonna go ahead and give Nancy a call, Bob said after more time had passed. He dialed his colleague at the children's hospital. Hey, Nancy? Yeah, it's Bob. I'm here with the kids. Has Charlotte left yet? Alex and Connor leaned in toward him. They could barely make out what Nancy was saying on the other line, but from what they could hear, she sounded surprised. I'm sorry, what did you say? She left 2 hours ago? Bob said into the phone. Are you sure? Because we haven't heard anything from her. Alex and Connor exchanged fearful looks. Something's wrong, Alex said. I can feel it. Something bad has happened. Mom is never late like this, Connor said, shaking his head. Okay, thank you, Nancy. I'll try calling her, Bob said, and he hung up the phone. He quickly dialed Charlotte's number, and he didn't make eye contact with the twins, not wanting to add to their concern. Bob tried calling several times with no luck. Oh, she's not answering, guys, Bob said. Do you think that she spontaneously decided to run errands tonight? Alex, worried sick, burst into tears. We have to call the police, she said. The police wouldn't do anything unless she's been gone for 48 hours, Bob said, so let's just not panic just yet. Connor jumped up from the table and paced around the room. There's got to be something that we can do, he said. I'm going to get on my bike and go looking for her, Alex said. I'll go with you, Connor announced. Nobody is going anywhere, Bob said calmly, though the twins knew he was just as stressed as they were. We've tried calling the hospital, and we've tried calling her phone. Let's wait a few more minutes and see if she tries to call us back. Alex's tears began to flow faster the more she worried, and it was impossible not to. The twins feared that history, their history, was repeating itself. Buster suddenly started a barking frenzy. He was staring intently at the front door, jumping up and scratching and growling as loud as he possibly could. The twins had never seen him like this before. Buster, what is it, boy? Bob said. Is someone at the... And the doorbell rang, and all of them, including the dog, completely froze. It rang twice before any of them even moved. Who could that be at this hour? Bob asked and went to answer the door, and the twins followed him into the doorway. They almost wished he wouldn't answer it. Whatever or whoever it was too late to be anything good. Buster began another barking and jumping fit. Buster! Down, boy, get down, Bob told him, and the dog backed away from the door and stood directly in front of the twins, protective of them. He was ready to pounce on something in an instant if he didn't like the looks of it. Was he sensing something that they couldn't sense? Bob looked distressedly at the twins. It's gonna be all right, kids, he said calmly. Whatever happens, just know that it's gonna be okay. Bob slowly opened the front door, and he peeked out onto the porch. It seemed empty. Hello? He said. Still, there was nothing. There was no one there to be found. Hello? Bob said. Is anyone out there? Seize him! In a split second, a dozen soldiers dressed in silver armor barged through the door, and one slammed Bob hard against the wall. Alex screamed. Connor grabbed her arm, and they tried to run to the other side of the house, but the soldiers formed a tight circle around them and Buster. Their swords were drawn, and they held tight shields, and a small glass slipper was displayed on the outside of the crest. The twins recognized the soldiers immediately. They were from the Charming Kingdom. But what in the world were they doing here? Get your hands off me this instant, Bob yelled, struggling under the soldiers' restraint. Get away from those kids. Who are you people anyway? We've surrounded the place securely, and we've secured the twins, the soldier said, the one that was closest to Alex, and opened the front door. Bring in the fairy godmother. Alex and Connor looked to each other so fast that they could have hurt their necks. Fairy godmother? They said in unison. Two other soldiers quickly charged into the house, led by none other than their grandmother. Grandma? The twins gasped together, and they almost couldn't believe their eyes. She looked exactly the same as she did the last time they saw her. She was dressed in a long sky blue robe that sparkled like the night sky. Her hair was styled up with beautiful white flowers in it. She raised her crystal wand authoritatively, and she walked into the house. The twins had never seen her look so worried. Oh, thank heavens, Grandma said, and the soldiers parted in the circle, and she threw her arms around Alex and Connor. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. Grandma said. She hugged them so tightly they felt like they would pop. The twins didn't hug her back. They couldn't believe that they were seeing her in real life. Their heads were spinning with so many questions they couldn't even manage to spit out the basics. Grandma? Alex said. Is it actually you? Where have you been? Connor said. And their grandmother gently placed a hand on each of their faces. Oh, I'm sorry I've been gone for so long, she said sorrowfully. I promise to explain everything later. She took a moment just to look at them through teary eyes. They knew that she had missed them as much as they had missed her. Just look at you two. You've both grown a foot since the last time I saw you, Grandma said. And then a familiar man walked through the door. He had a distinguished jawline and wore a bright yellow suit. And to Bob's amazement, the man's shoulders and his hair were actually on fire. The twins recognized him instantly. It was Xanthos, the only male fairy on the fairy council. I checked the property, Xanthos said. It's clear. Xanthos? Alex said. What's he doing here? And Bob fought restlessly under the soldiers pinning him to the wall. What is going on here? He yelled. Who are you people? And Grandma raised her wand in his direction, and Xanthos pointed a few fingers at him. His whole hand suddenly lit on fire. Both were ready to fight if it was necessary. Do you know this man? Xanthos said to the twins. Yeah, that's Dr. Bob, Connor said. Don't set him on fire. He's our mom's boyfriend. Boyfriend? Grandma said and lowered her wand. Oh, I must have been gone longer than I thought. Release him, Xanthos ordered and lowered his hand, and the soldiers immediately dropped his hold on Bob. Honey, what's wrong? Oh, really? Okay, can Mommy finish this? Yeah? Do you want this one? Sorry, this woman is your grandmother? Bob asked the twins. Is she part of the circus or something? What's with all the tricks and the costumes? What on earth is a circus? Xanthos said, unsure if he should take offense to this or not. Alex and Connor didn't know where to begin. Honey, what's wrong? Look. Wow. Wow. Can you take this? Can you take this? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, very good. Alex and Connor didn't know where to begin. Bob, it's a long story, Alex said. In a nutshell, our grandmother's the fairy godmother from the fairy tale world. It's Cinderella's fairy godmother, Connor said. I know it's a lot to process, so take your time, but we promise that that's the worst of the baggage that our family has. Bob's eyes grew bigger and he glanced at the soldiers, at their grandmother, and then at Xanthos. Uh-huh, Bob grunted, not convinced. Their grandmother looked around the living room, gravely concerned. Where's your mother? She asked. We don't know, Connor said. She was supposed to be home a few hours ago, Alex said. Grandma, what's wrong? Connor asked. You don't know where Mom is? Their grandmother didn't answer, staying deep in thought. Grandma, what's happening? Alex demanded. We haven't seen you in over a year, and suddenly show up out of the blue. You have to tell us what's going on. Where is our mother? Their grandmother looked back and forth between them. Children, what I'm about to tell you is going to seem very frightening, she said, but I need you to be strong and trust that many qualified people are handling this situation. And the twins nodded impatiently. Any news was better than no news. I have reason to believe that your mother has been kidnapped, their grandmother informed them. They were wrong. Having no news was better than knowing this. Oh my, Mom has been kidnapped. Can you imagine? What if your mom had been kidnapped? Hey, Isabella. What if Mommy was kidnapped, honey? You hate it. Oh, you hate that idea. Okay. You want out? You want out? Come here. Arms up. Wee! Wee, 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 wee. Can you sit down? You don't want to sit? You refuse to sit? That's good. A busy day is good. A busy day is good, huh? You like that Isabella had a busy day, huh? Is that so nice? Oh. Hey. We love that Isabella had a busy day. Here. Oh, honey, you don't have to be sad about it. Isabella needs busy days. You were hoping that's what happened? You were hoping that their mom got kidnapped? Stephanie, that's cruel. That's cruel. Oh, okay, we're gonna go eat. Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna go eat, but we will see you all later. Hopefully we'll have time for baby book club later after yoga. Okay, we love you all. Thank you for getting through 2 chapters with us. See you guys later.